So, have you ever looked at an online store, maybe one that's not even that flashy, and just wondered how they're absolutely crushing it with sales? Meanwhile, these gorgeous artistic sites seem to be struggling. Well, today we're going to break down the secrets to building a store that doesn't just look pretty, but that actually sells. And it all starts with one really surprising idea. This right here, this is probably the most important thing you need to understand, and honestly, it goes against every instinct you have when you're starting out. You think this amazing, beautiful design is what builds trust, but guess what? If a customer can't figure out where the buy button is in 2 seconds, all that beauty is worthless. The real currency in e-commerce isn't art, it's clarity. There's actually a name for this trap. It's called the Aesthetic Fallacy. Think of it like this. You've got a super chic, high-end boutique versus a good old-fashioned hardware store. That boutique might be a cool experience, but trying to find what you need, it's a total pain. But the hardware store, well, it might be kind of ugly, but you can find a specific screw in 30 seconds. And online, the hardware store model wins almost every single time. So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to lay down the foundation of trust. Then, we'll talk about how to guide customers through your site. After that, we'll tackle that all-important checkout process. And finally, we'll cover how to make sure the whole thing actually works before you launch. Okay, let's start with the absolute bedrock of any sale online, trust. The second a visitor lands on a site they've never heard of, their brain is just screaming, is this a scam? Is this legit? You've got to answer that question before you can even think about asking for the credit card. And this is not a small problem. I mean, look at this number. A staggering 97% of people have real concerns about shopping on a website they don't know. We're talking basically everyone. They're worried about fraud, if their data is safe, and if the product they paid for is even going to show up. So how do you fight this trust deficit? The answer might surprise you. It's your About Us page. But you need to stop thinking of it as a boring biography. Instead, think of it as your #1 risk management tool. And this framework is how you do it. This framework is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's just 3 steps. First, you share your origin story. People connect with a human struggle, not just a slick success story. Second, you state your mission. What do you actually stand for? And third, you prove your expertise. Why are you the right person to solve their problem? You put those 3 things together, and suddenly you're not a faceless website anymore. You're a credible business. All right, so you've earned their trust. Awesome. Now what? The next mission is to make it ridiculously easy for them to find what they're looking for. This is where your store's navigation basically becomes your best customer service rep. And the key principle here is broad to narrow, just like you see in this funnel. You start with big, obvious parent categories, like men's. Then you guide them to a child category, like tops. And then finally, a grandchild's category, like t-shirts. This step-by-step approach keeps them from getting overwhelmed and clicking away. And this right here is a perfect example of choosing clarity over being clever. When someone looks at your menu, their brain is just scanning for familiar words. They know shop, they know pants, they know sale. They're not there to solve a riddle like explore the realm. When you make them think too hard, you lose. A confused mind will always, always say no. Now let's talk about the product page. You have to think of this page as your star salesperson, working for you 24/7. Its entire job is to answer every single question and erase every doubt. That means a super clear call to action, amazing photos to bridge what's called the tactile gap, the fact they can't actually touch it, and descriptions that sell the benefit, not just the features. The buy box is command central for this whole page. And just look at the hierarchy here. It guides your eye logically from the title, down to the price, over to the different options, and then bam, right to that big, can't miss it, add to cart button. It's a simple, clear path to making a purchase. No guesswork involved. Okay, now we're at the most critical and, honestly, the most painful part of the whole process, the checkout. This is where most stores just bleed sales. The customer has already decided they want to buy from you. Your job isn't to persuade them anymore. It's to just get out of their way. Just let this number sink in for a second. The average cart abandonment rate is almost 70%. That means 7 out of every 10 people who wanted your product enough to put it in their cart were basically forced to leave because of a bad process. This isn't a marketing problem. It's a systems failure. So what's causing this disaster? It's not some big mystery. Number 1, unexpected costs, like a crazy shipping fee that pops up at the very end. And number 2, forcing them to create an account. And the best part is, both of these are 100% within your control to fix. And the solution, as you can see here, is it's beautiful. It's called the account later model. You let them check out as a guest, no questions asked. You secure the sale. Then, on the thank you page, when they're happy and feeling good about their purchase, you can invite them to create an account to track their order. It's such a simple change in timing, but it makes a world of difference.
All right, we are in the home stretch. Your store is built, the customer journey is designed, but how do you actually know it works? This is where we have to fight against something called creator blindness.
This quote really says it all. Because you built it, your brain just automatically fills in all the gaps and looks right past the flaws. You don't see the store a new customer sees, you see the store you meant to build. You simply cannot trust your own eyes on this one. So the only way to be totally sure is to run a real-life transaction. This cycle shows you every step you have to test. And I'm not talking about clicking buttons in some test mode. No, use a real credit card, buy a real product, check the confirmation email, and this is the part everyone skips, process a full refund. You have to know that the money can flow both ways without a hitch. And look, once you go live, the work is not over, not even close. Your store is a living, breathing system. Your job now shifts from being a builder to being a detective. You have to use your data to find the leaks. Where are people dropping off? Is it on the category pages? Are they leaving from the product pages? Are they abandoning their carts? Each drop-off point tells you exactly what part of your store needs attention. So in the end, building a store that really sells means you have to accept that it's never really done. It's not a finished monument you put on display. It's an engine that needs constant tuning. The goal isn't a perfect launch. It's a commitment to constant improvement. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. What's the one small thing you can improve on your site today to make a customer's journey just a tiny bit clearer?